Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch the replay. I'm so excited for you. So, this is part one of our five-part AI workshop series. Before you dive in, though, I want you to complete this homework. If you've already completed it, great. Go ahead and skip over. If you haven't completed your homework, please hit pause and come back to this video after you've completed your homework. That's going to allow you to get the most out of this. Now, I'm going to run through what you need on the homework, but if you have any questions, please, in the description, I'm going to include a video link of me explaining how to gather some of this data. ChatGPT Plus, you're going to need the paid version of ChatGPT because this allows us to work out of projects. The free version as of today does not allow that. You're going to need customer reviews. So a minimum of 100 reviews, but if you have 500, great, let's use them. If you don't have 100, please use your competitors' reviews, your direct competitor though, same service, same products, probably similar market. Those reviews, whether 500 or 100, is going to need to be converted to a TXT format. But let's say you have many, many reviews, like 500, you're going to need to split those in a few different docs. Maybe you have a doc for Google reviews, Yelp, TripAdvisor. We don't want to give ChatGPT this huge document of all this text. We don't want to confuse it. So separate that into smaller docs. All right, Google Analytics data. So you're going to need to download your user attributes overview, and I show you how to get to that in this video clip. You're going to need business and product information. So provide a comprehensive list of your products and pricing in a document and turn this into a PDF. You could also include maybe what sets you apart from your competition. And then lastly, you're going to need a sample content. So whether it's a blog post that you've written, not ChatGPT or AI, you've written in your own words, marketing emails that you've written, or maybe it's just a section on your about page that you've written. We're going to use that. Make sure you convert that to a PDF. All right, guys, that's your homework. We're going to take these throughout all of the other parts too. So if you need clarification again, please click the link in the bio. And lastly, Brandon mentions, and he follows along a prompt document. Where do you get that prompt document? It's in the description. All right, and like and subscribe to this video so that you know when part 2, 3, 4, 5 comes out. Let's go.
Thank you all for registering for this workshop. Just to clarify, you did register for a training series that consists of 5 parts, and it's going to be every Thursday at the same time. This is part 1. So before we dive in, I'd love for everybody to put your phone on Do Not Disturbs, and if possible, get 2 screens up because I really want you guys to be able to focus and take away as much as possible from these training sessions. Lastly, I don't know if they're on this training yet. I can't see, but I want to give a huge shout out to our friends and partners, Cultivate Advisors, Andrea, and the Sunshine Tribe, Josh. They were so kind and pushed this training to their audience too. So thank you. We love you, and we really appreciate what you guys are doing. I think this training is going to be absolutely amazing. And one of the reasons is because we have the Brandon Lake presenting. Not only has he gone through this entire program with his own tour businesses, Western River Expeditions and Moab Adventure Center, but we're working on this internally with RESMARK and Waiver Sign. And if you don't know Brandon, he's obviously a tour operator, like I just said, but he's also the owner of RESMARK. He's spoken at many industry events regarding this exact topic, but he's never gone this deep. So we're so excited that he's taking the time to share this with all of us. All right, guys, I'm going to stop talking now. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We'll keep this interactive. We have a lot of our team on here. And with that being said, I'm going to pass this right over to Brandon.
Okay, thanks so much, Nikki. Well, like you said, we're excited to dig in pretty deep here. We got a lot of great feedback from some past sessions we've done. In those sessions, we talked a lot about kind of on the surface of how to use AI, some really cool things that we've been doing in our own tour businesses, generating content that has really helped improve conversion and engagement. And we've had a lot of questions about how, I love this idea. How do I implement it? And I'm trying to go through the steps and I'm getting stuck. So we said, let's put together this workshop and literally help people through this live. So that's what we're going to do today. So when Nikki says have 2 screens, that's because we want you to actually work alongside what I'm doing. I'm going to literally be entering prompts, doing the work. You're going to see it all happening live in front of you. And if you're set up to do it, you can be mimicking exactly what I'm doing as we go. So if you don't, though, don't panic. This will be recorded. You can come back and then you can sort of walk through it on your own time and pause and figure things out. But if you are doing it live, I'll pause along the way as we go, and you can ask questions and let me know where you're getting stuck or if you have questions like that. So, and also feel free to chat those in, and there may be some that Nikki and team can answer for you as we go, so we don't need to take the whole group's time. But if there are some good questions, Nikki, as we go, that we're like, hey, a lot of people probably have that question, let's bring it up. So with that, we're going to jump in. A little bit of an outline, just so you understand what we are trying to accomplish here. Today, we are doing part 1. This is about unlocking your ideal customer goldmine, and it is the foundation of everything that we're going to do. Without today, nothing else we do in the other sessions would work as well. It might work a little bit, but it would not work as well. So you'll see why that is shortly as we get into this. The following weeks, we're going to talk about website copywriting. We're going to talk about specifically a homepage. We're going to actually design one, top to bottom, all of the content, all the key areas that you should have to really generate more conversion. If we have time, we'll dive into a tour page and maybe some other key pages of the website. But you'll get principles of utilizing AI as we go. So I'm hoping it's not just like, oh, all I know how to do is this one thing. No, you're going to learn how to apply these things in so many different contexts because you've done it with very specific examples. Part 3 is going to be blogs, content strategy. We're going to actually create a list of about 50 blog posts that you can put into your content calendar, and we're going to generate one of those. And you'll see exactly how we go about that. What's the perfect structure of a blog? How do we, cause AI to build that for us and do it in a way that, will be the right way for SEO as well. Part 4, we're going to talk about email marketing. We're going to talk about developing nurturing sequence, newsletters, different things like that that can be really powerful for you. And the last section, we're going to get into ads, campaigns, and different ways to maximize bookings. Again, just a sampling of some things in the customer journey, but hopefully you'll come away with things that you can apply through the entire customer journey to make this resonate with your ideal customer. All right. So I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Marketing is changing fast, right? And it is hard to keep up with. All of these things with AI, like, it blows my mind. We were doing some stuff with ChatGPT recently and having a huge success. And then this concept of projects came out. And I was like, that's what we've needed. Claude had it before, and now they have it, and it's fantastic. And we're going to use that today, actually. So you are going to need to have a ChatGPT Plus account minimum. It's $20. I don't know if there's a trial or not, but it is well worth the $20. You couldn't hire an employee to do what we're about to do for anywhere near that. So maybe $20 an hour, but you're going to get way more work out of this than that. So make sure you have that. If you have the Plus or Pro, either one is fine. We're going to use ChatGPT just because I think it's the most common, the most familiar out there. We could use lots of different platforms, but that's what we're going to use. So with all this stuff changing, we often kind of get overwhelmed, right? And I've used these words before from our friend Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. And I love what he says. He says, everything is always changing. People are chasing the next shiny object constantly. But he says, what you should be focused on is building a strategy around what is not going to change. And that is what we're talking about today. And what is the one thing in marketing that will never change? It is this: the right message to the right person at the right time. It is a constant that has been there for ever since we started selling things. And it will be there into the future forever. That is, how we all think and make purchases and book travel or whatever it might be. It's because we see the right message, it resonates with us, we get it at the right time, we make a decision and we make a purchase. So today in this specific session, we're talking about the right person. Okay, so who is the right person? This is what we call your ideal customer. This customer, I want you to think of things maybe a little bit outside the box here. Not just like, oh, who are they? But who really is like your most profitable customer? Because you have a lot of customers. Some are more profitable than others, right? For us at Moab Adventure Center, we've decided our most profitable is the customers that come in through the door. We spend the same amount of money to acquire nearly every customer. but those that come in and book multiple activities with us. That's our business model. We try to book, multiple activities. That may not be yours. So think about this in context of yours. If we can get people to book 4 or more activities on our side, that is way more profitable to us from a customer acquisition standpoint than somebody who just comes in the door and books 1. So who's your most profitable? Who's your most enjoyable to work with? Like you all know, there's some really, customers out there that you do not like to work with. Let's try to extrapolate while we're doing this to not be creating messaging that's going to attract them. Maybe one that will deter them. And then who is most likely to enthusiastically promote your experiences to others? That's really how we grow, right? We're going to grow from our rankings with SEO and everything, but we're going to grow in large part by people just being so excited about our products. They're posting reviews, they're telling their friends, and the business grows. So the right person, that is our focus of today. In the future sessions, we will cover what is the right message. And I do want to just touch on this because this is the foundation of everything that we're doing here. Kind of all the prompts we're going to do today are going to get at our ideal customer and crafting the right message for them. There's this book I've mentioned before. It's called Breakthrough Advertising, sells on Amazon, used to sell for over $1,000 per copy. I think today it's in the 400 and something range. Been around forever, and the principles hold true. They're part of that right message, right person, right time. And it says this: copy cannot create desire for a product. It can only take the hopes, dreams, fears, and desires that already exist in the hearts of millions of people, focus those already existing desires onto a particular product. This is the copywriter's task, not to create this mass desire, but to channel and direct it. And that is what we are doing today. We're going to get into the hopes, dreams, fears, and desires that already exist in the hearts of our customers. Okay? And then lastly, we'll talk about the right time. The right time is at every touch point along the customer journey. Again, we're going to do a sampling of some of these, but that's ultimately what you want to be thinking about with what we're doing. How do I craft messaging to really touch the hearts of these people at every point? All right. As Stephen R. Covey said, begin with the end in mind. I don't want you to get lost in what we're doing right now today, so I'm just going to jump out of this real quick, and I'm going to show you just an example of what we did with this content. It's a brand new site we're putting together inside of RESMARK Web. And in this site, a lot of this content actually has come from what we are doing today. Some of these headlines, it's time to reconnect and recharge in Moab, came from exactly what we're doing today. You'll never forget this. These making magic moments since 2003, all 6 of these things came from exactly what our customer analysis and review analysis gave us. So we utilized it there. Real adventures, real memories also came from this process. Moab guides that feel like family. That was something one of our guests actually said. I honestly probably would not have come up with it. I love it. It's a great headline. I don't think I would have thought of it myself. So that's really powerful. The concepts of what additional information should you have on your page, which FAQs should you have, both from a knocking out concerns and hesitations and an SEO perspective we're going to talk about. What should your tours be featuring in terms of the little tiny blurbs you have? What could you do with, other content, lead magnets? We're going to talk about all of that. So I'm just giving you a little bit of a preview here of what we're doing with this, okay? So when we talk about crafting a prompt for content, we want 4 pieces to it. We want a persona. We need to tell it who it needs to be, right? Act as an expert marketer, act as a skilled copywriter, act as an SEO, right? We're going to tell it who it's being. And then we need to give it context, even providing background information. I'll show you in one of our processes how I provided a massive amount of content about Grand Canyon rafting trips in order to generate a specific blog about rafting the canyon in April, and how much more effective it is when we provide additional context like that versus just saying, write me a blog post about XYZ. Way more effective. The task, what do you want the AI to accomplish? We're going to talk about how to be really specific with that, how, exactly what we want. And then lastly, the audience. And again, this is where we're focused today. Who are we targeting with this content? If we don't really specify that, we miss the mark and we get more generalized content. So today we are diving into the audience. That's our foundation. All of the other things above it are going to stem from it. And with that, we're going to jump into today. Okay. So unlock your ideal customer goldmine. These are the steps we're going to follow. We are going to go live into a demo inside ChatGPT, and we're going to work through this. We're going to set up a project. Again, it's a ChatGPT Plus thing or a Pro thing. So you will not see projects, at least currently, in the free version of ChatGPT. So if you need to go out and get that right now, I suggest you do it. You can try some of what we're doing in the free. It may have, you'll still get some results for it, but it's going to eventually, your context window will kind of max out with what we're trying to do here. The project eliminates that problem.
Brandon,
Yeah.
is there projects and Gemini Advance?
I don't think they behave the same way as this one, and a lot of what we've been doing, we've been using these. So if you see it, if you are in like Claude has project, they were the first ones to have a concept like this where you could upload files. The reason we're doing this, you'll see it here, and it'll be very clear in a minute. But projects basically say, rather than go out and use the entire universe of information every time I key something in, I can specify exact files and instructions that I want it to use inside this project. So I can really dial it into content just for my business. And you'll see how powerful that is as we go. So again, you can do some of this. I've done all of it outside of a project before projects even existed, and it was still really effective. So you can try that, but what I'll be doing today is actually inside a project. And then we're going to need some key analytics files. We'll work through those together really quick just to make sure everyone got the right files. Your key business information file, hopefully you've come with that. This is all of your product and business information. To make that easy, if you didn't grab it, you can literally kind of copy and paste your about page on your website from top to bottom. And maybe if you have a page that has like all of your products listed on it, you can go in and grab that. So then you have your reviews files. Now this one is not one you'll be able to create on this call. So if you didn't have time to do this, you can sit back and watch what we're doing and come back and do this later. But you will need your reviews files. We suggested you get up to 500 reviews, divide them. AI can't really read past about 170 right now. If you're in Plus or Pro, it seems to truncate after that and stop reading the file. So again, depending on how long your reviews are, it's not just a question of number of reviews, it's how long they are. So if you've got massively long reviews, then you might even need to put fewer in a document, like 100 or less. But the idea is to have multiple files instead of one that's like got all 500 in them. So I did 3. They each had about 167 reviews in them. And then we are going to take that, we're going to save instructions inside the project, where we're going to give it a persona and some direction. And then we're going to start running prompts. And we're going to save the summaries that come from those prompts, and we're going to upload them into our project. And with that, we're going to be ready next week to move into actual generation of content and everything using this foundation that we create today. Okay?
Brandon, another
Yes.
question. Is there a specific model of ChatGPT we should be using? 4.0 or 4.0?
We'll use 4.0 today. The other ones they each have their strengths. But for speed today, we'll use 4.0. Okay, so we're going to jump out of the presentation and we're going to get started with this. All right, so I'm going to open up 2 things on my screen here. I'm going to have this prompt document, and Nikki, if you have this file, maybe just send that out to everybody. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I've already done this before, but I'm going to make a new project just so you can see it totally from scratch, because that's what you'll be doing. So I'm going to call this Moab Adventure Center Ideal Customer Profile and Messaging. Well, can't go that far. We'll just go Ideal Customer Profile. Okay, so we're going to hit Create Project. And I'm going to find myself in a screen that looks like this. It's ready to go. It's looking for files, instructions, and it wants me to start a chat. So we're going to start with files. Okay. So in this document here, if you have this open, you can kind of follow along here. I'm going to just come down here. We've already done the gathering of data. We're going to come down here to creating our project. Okay, so we've created a project, and let's go ahead and we'll do something really easy to start with, which is just adding our instructions here. I'm going to come back to the files and just do this first because it's really straightforward. You don't have to use this exactly. You can see what this is doing, right? It's telling it to act as an expert marketer in SEO, skilled in the copywriting style of Eugene Schwartz. That was that book that I showed you earlier. Again, the principles and practices in that book are timeless. They're well known, well documented. So I utilized it. You could, use anyone that you like that. I like giving it something really specific like that, but you could also write your own instructions. This is just an example of something that I've found to work really well. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come over here to add instructions, click on the pencil, paste it in here, and click save. Okay. Then I'm going to go up here where it says upload files. Okay. So you should have your reviews files. And with those, if you have them stored, I'm going to just put them in my downloads folder really quick so I can just grab them out of here. And let me just show you, and I'll actually pull one of these up and show you an example. So I'm going to grab the non-text file version here. So if you have, actually I don't have this folder. Okay, I'm gonna put this over the top of this for a second. So you have your reviews in a file, and if you go up here to File, Download, you can go to TXT. You can do that in Word, you can do it in Google, but your goal is to get a text file out of this. The reason being that a lot of these other files, be it a Word doc, a Google doc, a PDF even, they have a ton of additional formatting with them. The text file is like raw text, and it strips all of that out and it becomes very small in terms of file size. So I found that when this document was in a PDF, it would only get through the reviews on page 2. And that was it. I found I'm just querying all of this stuff and it keeps giving me the same reviews over and over. I'm like, what? What is going on with Christine Henderson? And why is she like, just constantly the example that I'm seeing in here? Because she was the most enthusiastic review from the page 1.5. So the text file allows you to get to the bottom of that. And you can even do some testing in it and say, how far can you read in this document? And it will tell you what it reads last. Okay, so you're going to get that downloaded. And then you are going to come into your project here, and you can drag and drop if you want, or you can click Add Files. So I'm going to grab I have a Yelp file, I have a TripAdvisor file, and I have a Google Reviews file. Oh, an error occurred. Maybe I went too fast there. Hold on. I got Yelp and Google. Let's grab TripAdvisor. Might not like to stack so much on top of each other. Okay. Now I've got 3 project files in there. Everybody good? I'll wait just a moment, make sure that you're kind of to this point. I don't want to get too far ahead of anyone here. Okay, if anybody's feeling like they're way back, you can send it in the chat, say, wait for me. Okay, next we are going to upload our, oh, actually, did I skip some of the, okay, come back up in the document a little bit, Google Analytics. I'm going to jump over into Google Analytics and we are going to download together the files that we want. So there are 3 files. I'm going to leave this up on this screen and we'll go into Google Analytics over here. So when you load analytics, it's going to look more like this. Um, so you're going to click on reports right here. If you've already done this, great. Just sit tight while I show everybody where to grab these. We're going to go into reports. We're going to change our date range. I really want to be the last year. So I'm going to go February 26th, 2024.
Is
Okay,
it
we now,
okay to ask a question?
sure.
I'm really sorry. I think it's probably a stupid question, but how do I start a project?
So back in ChatGPT.
Yes.
So you should, if you're on Plus or Pro, you will see this little line right here that says projects. So you'll see a bunch of things up at the top, depending on
So
what
I
you,
have to go to ChatGPT. I was in the wrong.
yeah. And then under projects, you'll see a little plus sign and click on plus.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so back into Google Analytics, we're looking for 3 reports here. Now you could grab more than this, but these ones I've found to be pretty effective. So we're going to go into reports right here. And under business objectives, we're going to scroll down to drive sales. Does everybody see that? And then under drive sales, we see e-commerce purchases. So grab this, and then you are going to click on the share. Actually, before we do that, we're going to come down here to rows per page, and we want 50. Because right now, by default, it'll just show you the first 10. So grab 50 of these, and then we are going to download the file. And this time we do want a PDF. It does a better job at reading a PDF on Google Analytics than it does the other formats. So this one I'm going to download a PDF. And then I'm going to go to the next one, which is reports, business objectives, understand web and or app traffic right here. And underneath that, there's demographic details. So I'm going to come in here. And again, I want to show up to 25 rows here. I don't know what happened with our business with India. It doesn't even make sense, but it was this India spike right here. So I may need to tell it to disregard that, as our customers don't really come from India that much.
Can I ask something?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't have this information that you are pulling down from somewhere. Where do you get this? Are we able to pull this from somewhere, or I just got the link in the chat for the create an ideal customer profile.
So yeah, do you want to send, if you have Google Analytics and can log into it, Nikki, do you want to send the link to analytics.google.com?
We don't have it
Just
on
so
our
everyone,
webpage.
yeah, that's the one thing you would need Google Analytics already installed to gather this data. And after the confirmation, I sent out some homework. So a lot of these things needed to be gathered beforehand. So Brandon is walking through some of these himself too. So just to clarify some things, as we're getting a lot of questions in the chat about that, but I'll send the Google Analytics link.
And if you don't have it, that's okay. I mean, you can, if you have the reviews alone, that will be, that will still be fairly effective with what we're doing. This just adds a little bit more layer to what we're doing. So, and if you don't have it and, you're doing a website, well, if you're with RESMARK Web, you definitely have Google Analytics. So if you're unable to access it, you can ask the team there and they'll make sure that you're into it. We make sure that all the websites have that on them. Last one we're going to grab is under reports. This is down under life cycle, engagement, and pages and screens. Here, I want you to show your top 100. If you don't have that many pages on your site, it will just show as many as you have. And then we're going to click share, and we're going to download this as a PDF again. Okay. So now I should have 3 files, my e-commerce, my demographic details, and my pages and screens. And then I'm going to pop over to my project here. I'm going to click on project files, and I'm going to add these files. We'll wait for it to upload each one. Okay. All right, so now we have all of our review files and we have our Google Analytics files. And again, if you're struggling to access any of this stuff, you can just watch what we're doing, kind of grasp the whole concept, and then you can get access to this stuff, get your review files, and you can just watch the recording and go back through. So definitely nobody needs to panic with that. Just kind of understand what we're doing, and it will still be super effective as you go through it. Okay, last one is our business information file. So I don't know exactly where this is in the document, but we are going to, I'll just show you kind of what I did on this one. So on your website, if you have, a page that sort of lists out all of your activities with a little description and pricing and stuff, so it can understand what your products are, you can often copy this into a page and then kind of clean it up, copy it into a Word doc or a Google Doc. That's an easy way to kind of get that information, or you can have somebody, put that together, or maybe you already have it in a document. You can combine this with your, about page that gives you some business context again, or just create a file that has all that information in it. So with that, I'm going to take my, I have a file that's called Moab Adventure Center background and product information. And that's going to download here. And I'm going to drag that one in. So now I have all of my files. And you can see, again, talking principles, like you can see what you could put in here. If you have really great data from a reservation system, you could, export a report that would give you insights about your customers. You could plug that in. I could take it a step deeper and run some segments in Google Analytics that would actually, I could say, I just want to see the people who have made purchases on my website. And I want to look at it in that universe, which is a kind of a cool way to do it. I didn't want to take things that deep today, but you can see where understanding the concepts and principles, you can take this, a lot of different directions as you get into developing your project and plugging all this in. Okay, so we now have our files and we have our instructions. And now we're going to pop back over here and we are going to get started. So our first prompt you'll find here under Build Your Ideal Customer Profile. And we are going to copy this prompt right here. Again, probably the easiest way to do it right now is copy, but if you want to, kind of understand the premise of this and tweak it a little bit, you can absolutely do that. So what I'm doing here is I'm telling it that I want it to develop a detailed understanding of our ideal customer. I want it to look at the most positive and enthusiastic reviews, as well as website visit behavior. That's all from the files that I uploaded. We want to determine the messaging that will resonate with our ideal customer so we can increase conversion rates on our website. I might even put "and in other marketing." This will help us tailor our services, marketing strategies, and content to meet the ideal customer's needs and address any concerns. And then I tell it this. Here's another principle with AI. We can often be if we're too long-winded in our prompt, we will get much shorter results. Right now, I don't want very short results. I want it to actually go in and really analyze things. So I could go over and actually copy this entire thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to the bottom, and it would give me some pretty good results. But if I wanted to dig a little deeper into the files and analyze some things, I'm going to do it one at a time. And that's what we're going to do today. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections that we're going to paste in here, and it's going to run through each of these as we go. So that's what this last sentence is. I'm going to provide 7 sections I'd like you to work through. Can you handle each one of these one by one? So go ahead and hit enter. And you should get a response if it does it right. It tells us something like this. It's not going to jump in and start doing it because I sort of stopped it from doing that because I told it I'm going to paste each of these in one by one. So then we're going to go ahead and grab customer demographics. Oh, and it does say 7 sections, and I removed a couple of separate prompts and didn't change that, so we'll clarify that for it later. So go ahead and paste this first one in. And what it's going to do is it should tell us that it is analyzing, and it's actually going through all of those uploaded files right now, which is pretty cool. So it takes a little longer to do this than it would in 4.0, just sort of in a regular ChatGPT thread. Oh, and in my case, it's trying to figure out how to process the PDF. Oh, well, hopefully it can work through this. Sometimes you see stuff like this where trying to figure out what to do with the PDF data. The last time I ran through it, it was fine with it, but I have run into this before with PDF. So if you're running into that, if it asks you a question like it says, I've extracted and displayed the demographic data from the PDF for you to review. Let me know if you'd like to analyze. Yes, please analyze the insights based on the extracted information. So hopefully as you go, oh boy. I can pop back into my other project and show you what happened the last time I did this, which it was fine, but I don't know if anybody else is running into this, or did yours process? Anybody upload their PDFs and it's processing fine?
Yeah, mine's processing fine.
Okay, well, good. I'm gonna try my old files here really quick. If you've processed that, you can continue on down the process, paste in the next number 2, and just kind of continue on. But I'm going to go back and edit my project files real quick. I'm going to remove these. I don't know if Google Analytics had a problem with the download and upload of those. I'll plug in my last ones. Maybe it didn't like the fact that I stacked them too fast. We'll make sure we wait here. Oops, that's a CSV. I don't want that CSV actually. Okay. We'll try to plug these in here, and then we'll run it one more time. Okay. All right. So if you have a problem like this, let me just show you what you can do. that old chat isn't even here. So I'm just going to try this. We'll back up one more time. Just going to refresh this. And I'm going to actually delete that, and we're going to start over. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change this to 5. We'll paste this in, see if it does any better this time. Okay, and we're going to grab customer demographics. Hopefully we can handle these files. Okay, that's much better. So hopefully that's what you're seeing. And it will tell you the source of this. So it's using my Google Analytics user attributes overview. And it can kind of run through each of these. So you kind of know what document it's getting these from. And ideally, that's what happened for everybody. I'm not sure what happened to my last files there. But if you run into an issue like that at any point, you can do one of two things. I just kind of refreshed and started over. But you could also come back here, and there's a little pencil icon with this. If I don't like what it did, or I really messed up the prompt or something like that, I only copied half of it and then realized that I didn't get all of it later. I can come up here and edit, change it, and hit the button again, and it will redo your results. So that's kind of useful as well. All right, hopefully that little interim allowed everybody to kind of catch up and get to where we're at. So I'm going to leave that there, and then I'm going to move down to number 2. So come in here, copy customer wants and needs. We'll paste this in. So what are we getting at here? We're asking it to really analyze these reviews, which is pretty cool to go through and do this, because it's actually going to look at what people are mentioning a lot in their reviews, because I might have an idea in my head, but now I can back that with data, which I think is really powerful. And I have up to 500 reviews here, so it's really looking at a lot of data to come up with this. And it's figuring out what are the primary motivations, activities that are mentioned the most. Are people talking about families, friends, solo, couples? You know, what is that all about? What can it infer about their vacation goals, budget preferences, how long they're there? So it's giving me all of this. And of course, yours is going to be uniquely yours, which is why this is so powerful, right? I could go in and just ask about something in general, but I'm not going to get this kind of focused data that's actually pulling from my reviews. So you can see it's talking about families with kids, ages 6 to 18. We do have some trips that are available as young as 5, so that's where that comes from. Couples and honeymooners, solo travelers and small friend groups. What are they trying to achieve? You're going to see how we can utilize this to create content later. Budget preferences, what they're looking at, what can you do with that? So there's a lot of information here, and you can, utilize this well beyond what we're talking about too. It's like really valuable content that we're analyzing right now. Really valuable output that we can then take and use to make decisions in our marketing and even our product focus. And you can see what's happening as I paste these one at a time. If I had done all 5 at once, it would have just given me a quick little synopsis for each one of them. But that was quite a long answer for just that one prompt. So it really dug into that, which I think is awesome for what we're doing here. All right, we're going to move into hesitations and concerns. So copy this one and we'll paste it in here. So why do we have hesitations and concerns in here? This is one of the most powerful things we can do in our marketing, right? If we truly understand what's going on, what some of the fears or hesitations are in our customer's mind, we can address those right away. We can just shoot them down as they hit our website and read, reviews. We can relate reviews to these. We can relate FAQs to these. We can relate our headings and content to these so that they're put at ease and they understand that we're going to be able to take care of these hesitations and concerns that they have. Or at least address them in a way that makes them, feel comfortable enough to move forward with their purchase. So some of the common ones are obviously booking barriers, trust and credibility. Do they really trust you? Some of that comes down to, the design of your website. Like that's the very first thing. And then they start looking at, content, speed, all of these things start playing into their heads. And then of course the messaging itself is going to play into that. Imagery, messaging, all of that. Safety is going to be a big concern. One thing that I will note sometimes in the instructions when I'm doing this, given that we're travel businesses, I assume this is kind of true for most of us. Attorneys have always told me, hey, make sure the word safe is never in any of your marketing materials because you don't want to guarantee safety, right? And so when it does that, sometimes if it's suggesting, safety as something I should be pointing out, I'll say, let's try alternate language like peace of mind or security or comfort or, how long our guides have been around and things that will make them kind of infer safety without explicitly saying something is safe. And you can do that, and we'll probably run into that as we start to build content. So we're talking about, time commitment, customer service, hesitations and concerns, and then their general frustrations and fears. And you can see that you could, if you know that in your business there are certain things that are probably that you want to analyze a little bit deeper than this, just because of the uniqueness of your business, change this. Take one of these out, take a couple bullets out, put some in that makes sense for you. But again, this kind of gives you an idea of what you can do in analyzing these reviews. Okay, this one is fun. And this is why I said in our instructions earlier, just to grab all of your reviews. Sometimes we're like, I'm just going to grab the best ones. But the negative ones are very important to our analysis because we're going to talk about what could be improved. What are some of the hesitations? And we can address that in our operations and in our marketing. So we'll copy and paste number 4 in here. Here we're looking for what aspects of our service delighted them the most. And this is pretty cool because as a human, like going through 500 reviews and trying to look for patterns and pull things out like this would just take, I don't know how many hours, and I don't even know if I'd be accurate with it because it's not content that's in a spreadsheet that you can, go in and just run a little analysis on and add it up. So having something like this go in and actually analyze all of this text is really, really powerful. It'd be fun to see what everybody's getting back on these, but I love this. It's talking about it's pulling out names of our guides, Craig, Kim, Chad, Oscar, which definitely I know exactly who those people are, and it doesn't surprise me that they're mentioned a lot. So that's kind of fun. It's pointing out a key opportunity for me, which we don't do currently. Feature more guide bios, personal stories, meet your guide. We have a lot of guides, so it's kind of hard to keep up with all of that. But having some of those key ones that have been around for years on the site is something that we're looking at with a new site. So there's opportunities to take some of this information and go, oh my gosh, I could really improve that. That would really resonate with my people. And then what could be improved? This is one that we get all the time. I know it's in these reviews. Some guests felt that rafting was calmer than expected. We have this problem that in the springtime, the rapids are a decent size, and then later in the summer, they are almost non-existent. It's more of a float trip. And so people watch the video and we try to show both and we try to explain that, but if they're not paying attention, then they just, see one thing and they see the bigger rapids. That if we only advertise it as a float trip, then people that go a little earlier in the year are upset that there were rapids that were too big. So sometimes we get the 1 or 2 star review, because of the size of the rapids or how windy it was or how hot it was or whatever it might be. And so this is great stuff to kind of figure out, okay, what do we need to explain better in our pages so that we can make sure that this becomes less of an issue. Some guests weren't sure what happens if the weather cancels a tour. This is actually on the site, but the old site, this was a little bit buried. So on the new site, we're actually already planning to make these policies like front and center so they can see it. It's in the FAQs. So love that. Okay, it's summarizing, so we'll move into the last one here. Number 5, I'm going to copy it, be ready with it on my clipboard. And I'm just doing Command C or Control C if you're on Windows to copy these, and then I'm coming over here and doing Command V to paste them, or Control V if you're on Windows. And then hit Enter. And the last one we're looking at here is emotional triggers and key purchase drivers. So this is kind of cool because it can go in and actually read the text of these reviews and figure out what emotions are these people feeling, what is really driving them, and what do they hope to experience. And it can kind of infer that from how people are talking about their trips, what they got out of the experience. And some people even talk about what they were hoping to experience and what they actually got. So it can see all of that, and that's great. Longer term aspirations, key purchase drivers, we're going to get all of that out of this. So mine's reporting thrill and adrenaline is one group. It's even calling out the activities that fuel this emotion. So Hummer, Slick Rock Safari, canyoneering and rappelling, rafting, particularly Westwater and Cataract Canyon. Those are our 2 bigger ones. So that's pretty cool to see. I could see if I wanted to like put different groups of people on a homepage or something like that, I could talk about, you know, are you in this for the thrill? Have a nice headline, a paragraph, and feature those trips. I could talk to, you know, experience awe and connection to nature, right? And it's got some great copy here. Which ones do that? The Arches National Park Tours, scenic flights over canyonlands, hot air ballooning. And it's even giving me some little emotional hooks here. Stand where the earth touches the sky, lose yourself in landscapes beyond imagination. Like some good copy there. I might tweak that just a little bit to make it a little more like us, but some of it is great right out of the box too. We'll talk about that as we go. How do we manipulate this for SEO and, you know, to make sure that it's matches kind of the content that we have. Family bonding, relaxation and escape, sense of accomplishment, rappelling, mountain biking, multi-day whitewater rafting trips. Very cool. Key purchase drivers, still running through a lot of these. The fear of missing out, social proof and word of mouth. Reviews are the #1 factor influencing purchases. That's pretty big. People must have mentioned that a lot in their reviews. So now what do I do with that? Well, we're going to think about how we feature those on the site, making sure that the reviews are incredibly prominent. Ease and convenience. You know, how do I make this super easy right from the booking all the way through? Bundled and multi-activity savings. People book a lot of activities together. How do I make that easier? Emotional connection to guides and local experts. It's telling me, you know, some things that I might even fix on the website. So that's pretty cool. Then it summarized it. So now that we actually have all of this, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this content and we are going to put it into a document. And then we're going to export that document as a text file. And we're going to add it to our project file. We're not going to add it just yet though, because we're going to do the next analysis first, and then we're going to add both of them. So if you're here with me, let's go ahead and copy. We're going to remove our prompts in a moment here, but you can go ahead and.
Hey, Brandon, another
Yep.
quick question for you. Did you touch on if they don't have reviews gathering from a competitor that has the same service?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because you can see now, you can see how valuable these reviews are, right? Like it is really utilizing these to analyze a lot. So what if you only have 20 reviews? What if you have no reviews? Are you just getting started? How do you do this? So with that, you can actually utilize reviews of a competitor if that competitor offers really the same products as you. I wouldn't be like, well, they operate in Boston also, and you know, they're kind of similar, but they do several different things. You're probably going to throw it off a little bit. But if you think their ideal customer is kind of like they're targeting the same people that I'm targeting, then you could potentially utilize those. I would explain that you're utilizing the reviews of a competitor, and this competitor, does X, Y, and Z that we do not do. We offer these products, so help it understand where the source of the reviews came from, and it can interpret that and kind of extrapolate what it needs to from it. And that's a okay way to do it as well, just so you can get started with really getting your messaging dialed in. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come over here and do File, New, Document. I'm going to get rid of this and paste all of that in here. Okay, so you're going to end up with something like this. Mine was about 19 pages long. Others are probably similar to that. I don't really need my prompts in here. So there's 5 prompts, and I only have 4 now because I didn't copy the first one, but I'm going to delete these just to not throw anything off. So I'm just going to go right into everywhere that you see that it has, would you like blah, 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 or it's asking you a question, and then your thing, and where it says ChatGPT said, you can delete all of that. I should have 2 more. You can do a little find of you said if you want to do that as well. Okay, so I've deleted all of those now. And now I want to export my text file. So let's name this first. We'll name this Moab Adventure Center Ideal Customer Profile. Okay, and then we're going to go File, and we're going to download this as plain text. And that's just going to be sitting in my downloads for a minute. And we're just going to go that far. And then I'm going to jump back over to the document. Okay, so now we have gone through the ideal customer profile. We've analyzed customer demographics, wants and needs, hesitations and concerns, satisfaction factors, and emotional triggers and key purchase drivers. We've had the answers given to us from ChatGPT using our reviews files, Google Analytics files, and our business product and business information that we uploaded. And it's gleaned all of this information. We're now going to move into something that I call the elements of value pyramid analysis. So I don't know if everybody's heard of this before, but there is, just to quickly explain what this is, this was something that was put together by Harvard and Bain and Company. It was about 10 years ago. It still is an effective tool today. They took, the concept of the hierarchy of needs, from a human perspective, and they adapted it to a purchase perspective. And thinking about why do we go out and make purchases, and they determined that all products and services deliver certain fundamental elements of value, and they divided them into functional, emotional, life-changing, and social impact, and you can see those represented here. And you find if you think about some of these labels, you can think about probably off the top of your head how some of your products actually associate with these, right? In our case of Moab Adventure Center, we focus a lot on quality. We see that a lot in our reviews. We see variety a lot. We see that we simplify the concept of booking a vacation. We're going to see fun and entertainment in a big way. Wellness, probably. People need the disconnection and to reconnect and all of that. We see that. Providing access to places, we're probably going to see badge value. When people come home and post on social what they've done, they want that badge. The concept of affiliation and belonging, and then even this idea of self-actualization, of achievement, and something that they gain from the experience is another thing we provide. So all of these are really great things that we can actually analyze, and we're going to use AI right now to go through and do this. So here over in the project area, this is what I want you to do. Come over here. If I refresh, it's funny that these don't show up actually. You might go, oh my gosh, where's my chat? But if you refresh, you'll see your ideal customer insights is here. And you can always access this in the future. just by clicking on it, and it will open up all of those results. Okay, so I'm going back up to the project level. I'm clicking on the folder level where it says Mo Adventure Center, and that new chat window will open up again. So now I see my old chat, and I'm going to actually start a new one. If I continue in this one, it will eventually kind of sort of run out of the context window is only so large. And if I just keep throwing more and more at it without starting a new chat thread, it will eventually start to give me results that aren't that great. So I'm starting a new clean thread. Does that make sense? So this one's going to be a little bit different. So follow me as we go here. We're going to start this prompt and we're going to ask it a question to sort of understand what it knows about the elements of value pyramid. I find that not making assumptions is usually a good thing as you work through with AI, just understanding like even asking it to consider something first or craft an outline and then utilize that. So sort of breaking it down, almost like you would with someone who's working for you. You know, could you create me an outline of this? And then you look at the outline, you go, I like that. Could you take that outline and actually write, you know, a blog post with that or an email or whatever? So that's kind of what we're doing here. So I can see that it understands it. And now I'm actually going to go click on the image and just hit save image. And you can save it in your downloads. And then I'm actually going to drag and drop the image into this. And I'm going to go over to the prompt and I'm going to tell it this. This is the prompt to accompany the image. Here is an image of the pyramid. Can you ensure you're accounting for each of the elements here? I just want to make sure that it doesn't skip any, because sometimes it will look into its, you know, whatever access it has to this thing, and you find that it's only doing 15 out of the 30. So, oh, and then it might start doing what it's doing here, which I didn't really ask it to do. So that's okay. I'll have a summary of this, which you might find useful. We're actually going to dig into if you haven't run this prompt yet, I'm just going to change it a little bit. Can you ensure you kind of sometimes I can stop it short of doing this if I say I'll give you prompts for each value one by one. But in this case, I'll let it give me a summary because I think it might actually be a useful summary to reference in the future as we look back at these. So right now it's working through all of these. It's made it to life-changing value, and then we're going to hit we'll hit the last one, self-transcendence, up at the top. And then it's going to give me a summary. Okay, so now we'll pop back over here and we're going to go down to the next prompt. And I'm going to grab this. So what is this prompt doing? This one is letting it know what my goal is. I don't necessarily have to provide that persona every time because I kind of did it in the notes, but I'm reminding it here. Sometimes I found that can be effective even in addition to your instructions that you've given it. So the nice thing about working inside a project is it will reference those instructions as it works through them. So now it's waiting for me to plug each one of these in. So this section that we're going to work through here, kind of run through this together. I don't know. We may, depending on how long-winded it gets as we go through this, we may do just a few of these to give you an example and let you wrap up the rest on your own so you're ready to go for the next session next week. So what you see is happening here. Again, you can see kind of the difference in what I did up here when I, sort of did it all at once. If I would have pasted all of these at once, it probably would have given me more of this kind of summary. But when I'm doing them one at a time, you can really dive into this and you can see that, okay, effortless adventure. We handle the details. You enjoy the thrill. It's giving me suggested copy, an example review to support that. This is a pretty awesome little blurb if I wanted to put that somewhere in my content to point that out. Or, I mean, there's so many ways we could use this. We'll talk about a lot of that as we go. But okay, so you'll just continue to repeat these as you go along. So, and it's going to run through each one of them. Similar, it should create a very similar format for you. It's funny that it's restating. I just meant for it to, and it's funny that you'll do this multiple times and it will do it a little differently each time. But I just wanted it to restate the header. So when you copy and paste this in, it has a heading above it, but it's doing this funny little restate the value, which is fine. Yours may be doing something slightly different, but hopefully you're getting a similar output to this. Okay, so I'm gonna take this one just that far. You can, as a little bit of homework here, because I want to save some time for questions at the end. You know, you can continue on with what we're doing. We've done the first three. Just keep running this. It's a bit tedious, but you'll run through the rest of them and get down here to the end. Feel like if there are some that you're like, that does not apply to our people, and I know it, you can feel free to skip it. That's okay. But if you're curious what it might say, then run it, and you'll have some of that. Let's just do a couple of more, and then we'll leave some time for questions here and talk about our next session. All right, so hopefully everybody's about here in the process. I'm going to come back here, and I want to do this ranking values. Again, I'm going to do a new chat here. And this one is short and sweet. It's just one prompt. We're going to plug this one in here. And I'm going to actually have it analyze all of the values and see what we get. Sometimes it will actually, I did this before, and it actually gave me the number of times it was mentioned, which you could put in the prompt. You could tell it to count the number of times it's mentioned, but and then I might actually do a follow-up one. This isn't in the document, but this is an example of what do you want from this? You know, I personally want to say, can you rank these in order according to the number of times they are mentioned in all three review documents that I uploaded. And this analysis might take a little longer than the first because I'm actually asking it to count each one of these and see how frequently it was mentioned. And again, it's doing a little inferring of, you know, what somebody may not have used the word quality, but it can figure out if something they're saying relates to quality and analyze it. And it may not be perfect, right? I'm sure it's has some challenges with going through that, but this is pretty cool. Now I have something that's a little more data driven to see how, you know, what are these values that I really want to utilize in my marketing. So we'll circle back to this. I'm going to ask it, because I know this does not copy paste very well. If you ever get a table like this, I'm going to say, can you put these in a numbered list and not in a table? It should be able to do this pretty quick. There you go. So this will actually paste a lot better when I copy and paste this into my document than this will. So I'm going to actually take this one's short and sweet. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come over here and do a new document. I would have done this with the whole elements of value, but that one's not done yet. So we'll call this one elements of value ranked. Maybe I'll put my company name. Okay, so now we have that. And then we'll run one last prompt for today, and then we'll be ready to generate our content. So the last one we're going to do gets at messaging, tone, and style. And this is actually pretty cool. So let me show you how it's going to work. We'll go back to our project again, new chat. So I'm just going to paste this in here. Here we're asking it to analyze our review files and Google Analytics engagement data. Extract the most frequently used words and phrases from positive reviews, identify a tone and writing style that customers naturally use. I want you to compare this to high-performing content in Google Analytics to determine which style resonates best with our audience. Provide instructions, insights and instructions that AI can use when creating content. Now, you could put your marketing team in here, you'll get different results, but specifically, we know that we're going to use this inside of ChatGPT, so I want instructions that AI can use. So that's why this one is built that way. You could do it again and say, I want instructions and insights that my marketing team can use, and it will maybe give you just slightly different data. And the reason I think this is pretty cool to do is it will actually use the words and the phrases and the way that our customers speak is likely, if I can speak like that to them, if I can have that tone and engage with them in that way, it's probably going to resonate better than if I'm, over here in left field talking to them a slightly different way than they would actually talk about the experience. And a lot of us are probably like close to that, but it's actually, I've found some really great insights in doing this. I'm like, oh my gosh, we should change that about the way we do this. That would resonate a lot better with them. It's even looking at common patterns in high-performing content. So it analyzed my Google Analytics files, figured out which pages had the most views, and now it's it's looking at those pages and figuring out what are they doing that's potentially driving some of that engagement, looking at how long people are on pages and so forth, what's keeping them there. Again, good principles you can take away from this. You could dive a lot deeper into this and like provide, if you were looking at your Google Analytics and wondering, why does this page have people stick around for 2 minutes and 45 seconds? And this one that's pretty similar, they're only around for 47 seconds. Why is that? You could actually have it and analyze that, see what the reasoning might be. So, all right, we're going to do this one last thing here, and then we'll have about 15 minutes for questions. I'm just going to quickly take this so you can do it with me. This was a single prompt, so we don't have to edit this document very much. We are going to grab all of this, come back over here, grab a new document. We'll paste this here. And I am going to call this one, not that, Automotive Adventure Center, messaging, tone, and style. Okay, so now we have built our foundation. If you want to take these principles and you've got ideas now that we've done this, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. I want to go in and do I have this other idea that I think would be really powerful. Knowing your business and how you want to speak to your customers, you can take kind of what we've done today and you might come up with some of your own prompts and add a couple more files to it. So let's go ahead and take I'll just remind you, this is a step that you're going to want to do here. Download this to plain text. I don't think we did that with the last one. File, download this one to plain text. I don't have that elements of value yet, but we're going to come back in here to our project, go into our project files, and we're going to grab our ranked values. That one should upload pretty quick. And then we're going to grab our messaging, tone, and style. And we are going to grab where's my other one? Ideal customer profile. And then, of course, the missing one is that elements of value, which I would name Moab Adventure Center elements of value summary. And I would do the exact same thing, clean it up, reduce, removing all the stuff from me in the document, just keeping the summary from it. And then I would plug that in. One side note that I just thought of here too, in files where it has done, I don't know if we have any of these here, might be in our elements of value. Sometimes it will plug in, yeah, right here. So I might want to clean this up and re-upload it. See these things right here? These are all the tags inside of ChatGPT when we go back into those. Whenever you see this thing here, oh, is it not in this one? Oh yeah, right here. So whenever you see these little tags, they are going to come through and they're going to look like this. I don't really want to confuse. It'll probably just throw these away or understand that they're a source maybe. But if I want to get rid of these, I could actually come in here and I'm going to go Command F. I'm going to ask it to find these in the document. And then I'm going to have it replace it with nothing. Just leave that blank and hit replace all. So I've just removed all 13 of those. And then I want to remove the Google reviews one as well. So I'm going to stick that up here, replace it with nothing. Got rid of all those. And the last one is my TripAdvisor reviews. I'm going to not copy the dots over because I don't think that's going to matter. And then we'll paste that in here. And there's 16 of those, and I'm going to replace all those with nothing. So now I've kind of cleaned that up, and I could actually export this text document, remove my other one from my project files, and re-upload it. So hopefully that makes sense. Whenever you see those little tags, it's probably a good thing just to clean up so you don't end up with that extra little bit of junk in there. So I'll do that after our call in addition to the values that we need to finish up. All right, so in the end, this should look kind of like this. You got all your project files here. We'll add in that elements of value. Make sure you have clean files for everything. You've got your instructions. You'll have these chats that we've done so far. You should have 4 of them there. And when you go back in to finish up the elements of value, you don't need to start a new one. Just go into your old one, and you can just continue from where you left off. Oh, that's the ranking one. Sorry, that was this one. You can pop back in here and go, okay, last one I did was reduce his cost, and let's get started with the rest. And you'll find the rest of those in the document here. Okay, so with that, we are ready to jump in next week. We are going to go through into website copywriting. We're going to talk about how to potentially use everything that we've done today, how to bring it into very specific prompts that we're going to use to take our ideal customer profile, our elements of value, and everything we've done so far, and actually craft some really high converting copy that's based on what's in the hearts and minds of our customer, which is really, really cool. And we're going to do that in each one of these, looking at these examples. So if you want to start playing around with it, get some questions, things like that, you're certainly welcome to do that. But we'll go through that and show you a really nice sort of template that you can use to walk through this for your content. And we'll do the same with blogs, and we'll do the same with email marketing and ads, and hopefully you'll come away with some really great principles that you can apply, in your own thought process as you think about how to do this. So with that, we'll open it up for our last few minutes here. Nikki, if we have some questions from the group,
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing. I can pop back into the screen share if needed, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. We've caught up with most of the questions, and as some other ones come through, I just want to address just a few things, guys. I will resend the homework to everybody today. If you do not get it, to let me know. It's because it's not going to your email. So the email you put into the invite or something is not being sent. So just let me know. I'll resend that homework to everybody, and I'll get the replay up hopefully today, if not tomorrow morning. So, and I'll send you that email as well. If you don't get it, again, just reach out and I'll get it out to you. Awesome. All right. Would you suggest that we complete the document we have been working with, Brandon?
Complete the document we've been working with. What are we referring to there?
Probably what we just went through. So yeah, probably before next training session, we should have as much as that done so we can move on to the next steps.
Well, and if you're referring to the entire document that we've been looking at, let me just put the screen up. You can, I know you all have access to this, so you don't necessarily need to go beyond the extra prompts that we're doing next week are not in this document. So if you got into messaging tone and style and you've uploaded the document summary or the summary documents to the project, that's kind of the stopping point. So just make sure you've done up to that point in the document. What follows are just some examples of other things that you could do. If you're curious about these, you can run them. That's fine. We'll do variations of them. Some of these I love, like this, what you get out of this one is really cool. If you're just looking for content ideas for various things. They're a little more generalized, but they're really good at sort of getting into the minds of your customer. Some of the other things in the document are not necessarily related to content. These are more like, okay, let me think about my reservation staff and the call quality. What could I do using everything that we know now about our ideal customer? How could I improve call quality? That's pretty cool. Or something for the operations team. You know, how could I understand surprise and delight better for operational improvements? These are great questions to go through and ask it. We've got some really awesome things that it analyzed from all of our reviews with that. So they're not all for like homepage or blog or the things we're going to be doing, but there is value to them. So if you'd like to finish up the document and see what you get, you can do that. They won't all necessarily be project files though, keep in mind, because some of them may just be a standalone, if that makes sense. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, does anybody have any other questions? We have a few minutes. Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself or chat it. Suggestion. Oh, go ahead.
Just ran out of room on the I've got the ChatGPT Plus, and it says you've reached the maximum length of this conversation. So because I did every prompt is a individual thing that's super long.
Yeah.
Okay, if we start a new chat, is there a way to reference the old chat, or are we just? So I want to make sure if I start a new chat, I'm still
Yeah.
getting doing it right.
Right. No, that's a good question, Mike. So you can, because we have uploaded those project files there, what we're doing in this one is not necessarily each little prompt we're plugging in isn't necessarily building upon the last. If we were outside of a project, that would have been the case. Like, and that was the challenge for me doing it that way, because you would run into that. It's like, oh, well, or it would just start giving you not great results after a while and be like, okay, I've maxed it out. So you can make these as small as you want. The chat size, really doesn't matter. You might have to do a little copying and pasting when you create your summary document from like, okay, grab the 6 responses from that chat and paste them into the document, and go to the other chat and grab those responses and stick them in there, because I kind of want this one document.
But if you start a new chat, it's not. Is it necessary to be like, here's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, whatever? Again,
Yeah, you might have to give it the context, and say, I'd like to analyze some of the values from the elements of value pyramid. I'm going to give those to you one at a time. You might have to start it off like that again, just to and then it doesn't expect you to give it all of them. You're just giving it some of them.
okay, all right.
That's
I'll
probably
try
a
that.
good way to do it. Yeah, but I'd give it a little context to start with again, just so it doesn't go off in left field and be different than your other chat.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, good. Very good question.
Question from Nick. I'm not exactly sure, but suggestion page numbers would be great. I'm not sure what that
Oh, in
means.
the document, so you can see where I'm at. Yeah, we can totally
Yeah,
add page
that
numbers.
would help.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Nick. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. I'm thinking a question there. Yeah, perfect.
Well, that's good. We can add, Nick, if you want to add some page numbers to the document, that'll be helpful. So we can say now we're on page 4. Yeah, I'm sure I'm jumping around in there. We're moving fast, so it's hard to follow. Did anybody
And
successfully follow the whole thing, or is this more like homework for everybody to go back and figure out? Nick did? You did it? Okay. Nice.
projects automatically save, right, in ChatGPT?
Yep, yep, it'll all be there. So, all right. Steve says 75%. That's good. Uh,
Awesome.
yeah, fun. Homework, fast and furious. Good. Well, yeah, hopefully that's helpful to everybody. I know it's not very exciting right now because we're kind of developing this foundation, but Nikki and I talked about this and we were like, well, should we just let them do the whole foundation on their own and we'll just jump right into the exciting stuff? And I thought, oh, if people get lost with the creation of the foundation, then everything we do from here forward really becomes challenging. So we thought it would be helpful to work through this together, let you see it. So take the video, work your way through it, get access to Google Analytics if you need to. If you have not, here's the thing with Google Analytics, if it's not installed on your website, just kind of forget about it for now because you're not going to get it installed and have as much history as you would actually need. Even if you let it run for a week, it's not going to give you really enough. You'll notice that's why I did 12 months of data, just to have something that's substantial that it can actually analyze and give me trends. I would hate to do it for a week and it's all skewed because I sent out an email newsletter and a bunch of traffic on a page I don't usually have it on, and then it's going to misinterpret reality. So I don't really want to do it that way. So take what you have. Again, if you need reviews, you can gather some other ones, but give it the context of what you're doing so it understands that. And hopefully everybody can work through this and we'll be ready to go with some of the content for next week.